Ministers and all the protocols observed. My name is Abu Madrin from Uyam district. I beg to submit the issue of teenage pregnancy, which is very common in our district and has reached the highest peak. In 2022, the pregnancy rate was at 27%, and the statistic shows that this year, April 2023, teenage pregnancy rate is at 30%. Therefore, I request you, Honorable Minister, to have special consideration for Uyam district. If not, we might not have ladies from Uyam district that will present at any level from few years to come. Thanks.
And we are giving a statement to the Honorable Minister. Yes.
Loans are going for agro-processing, and like I said, to promote commercialization of agriculture. Increase the level of confidence of participating financial institutions in agriculture financing. We know that a number of these banks, a number of these institutions would not want to give money for agriculture because of the risks in there. But now there's more confidence because they know we have the back of government. If this money doesn't come, government will beef this money up. So the confidence is there and people are able to access. Supported the increase of farm productivity by extending this credit of about 236 billion for primary production, enhanced financial inclusion through block allocation. This is where I said block allocation. So please, given these conditions I've listed, don't leave out those people that Dr. Albert talked about. They are provided for in the block allocation, and we are looking at you to support us to bring them together. Has also contributed to employment levels. So when we look at the Small Business Recovery Fund, in the year 2021, you remember we're all trying to recover from COVID. So to ease the challenges that companies were facing and individuals, measures were instituted by government to control the spread of COVID. Many businesses were affected by that lockdown, traders and so many others. So the Small Business Recovery Fund was instituted to assist the affected businesses that existed prior to 2020, March 2020. Not that existed prior to March 2020, not the new ones, the ones which suffered COVID. So eligibility is target small businesses affected by COVID, but can show potential for recovery. Potential beneficiaries are those who have 2 employees to 49, with annual turnover of 10 million to 300 million Uganda shillings. Agri-businesses that are already covered in the SCF I've talked about are not eligible for the Small Business Fund. What are the loan amounts? The maximum is 200 million. Maximum loan period is 4 years. Maximum grace period is 1 year. Maximum interest rate is 10% per annum. Facilitation fees, same, 0.5. Interest to Bank of Uganda is 0. Refinancing of existing facilities is permitted. Borrowers without collateral may access through block. So block is coming to support those who do not have collateral. Again, this fund for small businesses is also struggling because the active participating financial institutions at 9, just 9. Number of loan applications is only 668 by December 22. That's quite small. We know so many businesses struggling. And from the hands you put up here, I can see you are not aware of this facility. So please take advantage of it. The loans that have been applied for so far are only 8 billion. The ones dispersed are only 586. The value of loans dispersed is about 7 billion. And the government of Uganda contribution is about 3 billion. So let's take advantage of this. I call upon you to really support. There are some challenges that have been faced. Limited financial literacy, like I have also seen here in terms of this. Lack of financial records by the borrowers. So quite a number find themselves in block, which is also not comfortable for those who are lending. Lack of collateral to secure the loans. Some participating financial institutions prefer to lend funds at very high interest rates, and yet this is coming in to really support people to grow. Limited publicity. I hope I've done a bit on that one for you to get to know. So possible solutions, financial literacy. Again, also me, this is a key slide. Please share this. And really I'll look at Laban and Nixon, make sure these people get this slide. I'll even share with you my phone number and everything. Please call and make sure you access this facility. We hope to scale up the uptake of block allocation, encourage taking up agricultural insurance. For sure the people in agriculture don't keep records, and most likely they'll fall into block. Encourage farmers to work in organized groups, circles, cooperatives. This makes it easier for the participating financial institutions to monitor and also to continue engaging the public financial institutions to give less interest, because the purpose is for growth. So that is the effort that we are making. And with that, friends, I submit for you to consider and to support us and support your people to really come out of SDG 1. Chase poverty. The money is here. Thank you so much.
The statement very well. Your English is very perfect. Yes, and I'm sure that that is not just one indicator. That means that you have a mastery, not only of English, but a mastery of many things. But also we want to thank Madrid Abu, who read the statement on behalf of the young girls. She raised the issue of teenage pregnancy. It is a pandemic in Uganda, by the way. While we are talking about the other people who we are saying the ones who like, the ones who shouldn't like, but there are those who are actually looking for young people and exploiting them. And it's a crisis that we must all stand against as leaders, as people, as citizens of this country. But we also want to thank all of you who have made the time and invested time to be here. But my job is not to do all the thanks, but to really just hand over to His Worship the Mayor to give us his remarks, and then invite the Right Honorable Minister. Over to you, Your Worship.
There is a program that government is coming up with that all teachers have got to have diploma, no longer certificate in primary education. And they have been given 10 years. I think we are remaining in now about 6 or 7 years. But the poverty that the teachers have, their money that they are being paid, they have to pay their children at the same time they have to access diploma, degree. They have to, you remember the still, a majority are still in certificate. And they have to have a diploma and then degree. By the time they're reaching 10 years, I don't know, the scarcity of teachers shall be there. That one has got to be reviewed. Otherwise, it is going to be like the curriculum which they give to the university. The expired one.
Expired
That one. So we need to review that. In the areas of health, members, health we appreciate. We have health center 4s, we have health center 3s, we have health center 2s. And we have regional referral hospitals. When we talk of the regional referral hospital, this one I want to bring to your attention. that yes, the regional referral hospital is there. If you see how much the staff are overwhelmed, they are really overwhelmed. The number of the patients are more than the health workers. So in most cases, it is the interns that come to supplement and to help. And interns only go to areas where there are specialists. When you ask interns, the specialists to come up country, many of them don't want to come, simply because they say it is difficult to run in the hospital and also work in their own private health centers or hospitals. So it is a challenge. But what I want to bring out, Madam Minister, what the PS just brought out, to say that the rich should access, they can go for internship. And those that are poor should remain. For how long? Why don't we review? So that if somebody completes the degree, the 5 years in medicine.
Asante sana. Clap again, and I will say why. You people are not clapping. You are so mean. Asante sana. Why I'm appreciating it as the #1 issue. Once we leaders are part of the partakers of the social services, then we shall be able, we in Kampala, to come and do the monitoring and evaluation and make sure there is no corruption and there is value for money, because that's where we are supposed to go. You, the implementer in the local government, you will have to do your part to make sure there is value for money, the school has job, there is a building because your child is going to the same school. I will also make sure our hospital is okay, because next time it is me, they will take me there for services. That's why I'm appreciating that. It's one of accepting our responsibility, being part of the service providers, and also being part of the consumers, but also being part of the team that is supposed to provide accountability and value for money. Clap for that person again. You are mean, Steve. When it comes to payment of salaries, some are poorly paid, it meets my understanding. One says teachers are among the underpaid. The same team. One says we are not happy that they increased the salaries of science teachers and left those of arts. So what did we carry? The best would have been, yes, they were underpaid, but now the teachers of sciences are better. Can you also bring up those teachers of arts? I want you to always have positive energy in whatever happens. That's how people are able to make business. That even when people have died, what do we think of a funeral service? Including the professional mourners as the way of employing people. Who had ever thought of that? But somebody thought about it somewhere. Positive energy. Have financial eyes on whatever happens. Say, yes, the science teachers are slightly paid better. And the scientists. Can you bring us up with the administrators? Because we are the people who manage the payroll of those people in sciences. So, that has been said over and over again, but we will have to work hard, we, as people who need the arts, because I'm also a teacher by profession and a teacher for arts geography. And see challenges and find solutions instead of comparing yourself to Kampala. The population in Kampala, you cannot compare that population to us here in Lira. Because we've stopped even defining Kampala by the boundaries of Kampala. We are defining Kampala up to Mpiji, Kampala Metropolitan, up to near the Rugazi. Because for me, I'm a minister, but I don't have any plot in Kampala. But I'm in Kampala because I'm in Mukono. I sleep in Mukono. That's where I am. And when I'm leaving my village in Mujini, I tell them I'm going to Kampala. So you can't tell me that I'm going to Mukono. I'm going to Kampala. That defines it. So let's have our arguments, because the president said this financial we don't have enough money to go tarmacking many roads as per our NRA manifesto, because the resources are not there. But the money they are giving you is to make roads passable. Work on the swamps. Because once you have put up a very strong swamp, sometimes these borders and vehicles find their way. But once the swamp is not worked on, it becomes difficult, it complicates business. And you'll be complicating business of my fellow women in this place. Their trucks will break down. I know what happens in your villages with Sim. Women are the most active. Yes. So let's not compare ourselves. Kampala 2 trillion, which is not true. They wanted the 2 trillion, but government is able to get them 300 billion, and it will come in installments as we go on. Because remember, the UNRA roads are worked on, the main entrance and exits of Kampala are worked on by UNRA, the central government, not the CCA. So, which must also be maintained. Because if we don't work on the Masaka Katonga Bridge, there will be no business in Kampala. And Kampala will miss on business from Masaka, Barara, Chotera, Mutukula, and whatnot. The issue to do with the issue to do with diplomas and degrees, I had it here today. I want to say I've had it here today. Honorable Joy Omom, I've had it here. But I'll discuss with the Ministry of Education, because if we've not extended so many universities for the many areas for people to have easy access, and they have, maybe one has to board the vehicle to leave Aleptom or a 2K primary teacher who has to pay school fees to come and study in Lira University and then go back, the transport cost alone is a big burden to that individual before you even think of other things. So how do we simplify? I think also as we bring out a policy, we should be able to also simplify its implementation, especially to our people. Issue of interns to be facilitated. Interns is need 23 billion shillings for this financial, which is ending this month, which government and executive under His Excellency Kaguta Museveni, we passed it in the cabinet. Finance is still struggling to find the money and give them so that they are deployed. And according to their request, for next financial, they need 80 billion for interns. But now, there are also questions. Do we review the policy? Why do we give only the doctors? Because they treat us our bodies. But how about the engineers when they go for intern? Who put up buildings where we are? If this building falls on here, how many of you would die here? And how many would survive? Don't they also have an important role they play in our lives? How about the agriculturalists who do for us the extension services to make sure we have proper meat to eat, proper pork to eat, proper, what is the meat of rabbit called? Rabbit meat. How about those who have to make sure our dodo that we export to the Western world, the chemicals, to make sure that the agronomists know that we have the proper chemicals we are using. Now how about with the teachers who teach the doctors? You know, those are questions. So do we review the policy? Does it still stand? So how do we do it? So these are issues that this kind of has generated, but since government committed itself, we must now fulfill with this lot. And if it is to change, we have to change policy, then we begin with them, those who have just joined the university. And President Museveni already okayed this in the cabinet. I think finance must be struggling.
For the team that came ahead of you, and we had a number of eye-opening engagements that will help us to refocus on the efforts that the world is making to make the stay of the citizens of the world easier and better in their respective areas. And on this day, I would like to speak on SDG 11, which I feel is correct in the sense of the cities. That we are to have cities and human settlements that are inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. We thank the government of Uganda for giving the people of Uganda the opportunity to settle in cities. As we look ahead, because the projection shows that the population of the world are moving to urban centers. It is our prayer that Uganda at least learns from the mistake that the only capital city made, and this is not replicated in these other cities. But already 2 years down the road, some of us are getting worried that we seem to be preparing to repeat the mistakes that were made when many settled in the capital city of Uganda, that is Kampala. Why are we saying this? This issue came here and from different angles. One was from Arua, I think the other was from Bulu, where in Bulu they indicated that they are a district, but the headquarters is in the city. Now that means our planning is not running with the time. There's a way that our planning is lagging behind. The pronouncements for cities have gone ahead. Many things are going to start happening, and many have already happened that may be difficult to correct. It's our prayer that one, allow the districts that gave birth to the cities to disengage in peace. The colleague from Arua said they've been given a deadline that they will be chased. I don't think it's going to be possible. You cannot chase a whole entity. But government should allow the districts to move by giving them resources. Precedents have been set in this country that every new local government that is formed is given startup grants. But down the road, these two entities, which are virtually new entities per se, have not received even 5 shillings in startup grants. It's our appeal to government that let this grant be available. And I speak on behalf of all the other 10 cities. If the money is not yet enough for all the 20 of us, can you first give the districts what is there and let the districts move? And then we can handle our issues later. So that will help us to have a planned settlement that is safe and resilient in that context. But when it comes to the issue of resilience again, we're also not having enough time. I'll give an example that the weather pattern has changed. The kind of rain we're receiving nowadays is not the same. And in the case of Lira City, I have a population that came from the rural district. They were never a town council. They were never a town board. They were never a municipality, and straight into a city. Now when the rain comes, the roads are washed in a flash. Whereas the people at the central business area are talking of potholes. The people in the rural city, that was the language that was used, was it yesterday or the other day? The people in the rural city are asking for culverts to make sure that they are able to access the other side of the city. That means we are not making them feel safe, we are not making them feel part of the city, and they are not living as in a more inclusive manner that they are also part of the city. Now as cities, we cry out to government that give us road equipment that can help us meet those challenges. So if the rain comes and the roads are washed, we can move with our graders and try to mitigate those challenges. But without that, again, efforts of government to make all of us have safer and better roads will not be attained in the case of the cities. All of us as local governments are going to receive 1 billion shillings per district or per entity for improving our road networks. But in the case of the cities, for us, the other entities have their road equipment. For us, we shall use part of the 1 billion to hire So that means whatever we shall be doing will not be reflective with what the others were doing. And yesterday I gave an example that Kampala City, in only 1 month, when everybody saw the photos, government looked around and borrowed 2 trillion for Kampala. 2 trillion shillings for only Kampala. But 10 cities and 1 billion, that is 10 billion. It doesn't even form 10%.
It should be like it is a song or a hymn that is known by everybody, information to do with what we are going for, because it's an exercise that is meant to simplify for all of us in our offices, whatever level we are. That's one. So we should have more of this. We always have a tendency as people in central government, we call the technical people we are working with and who conceal information and don't share information with the others. Then when things fail, we begin looking at the political leaders in that place. And you find me leaving Kampala coming for radio talk show here to blame the chairman LC5 of YAM, the chairman LC5 of Lira, because the exercise didn't go well in their area. But where did we meet to share the information? So these were really representative. So as WUBOS, you were given resources. I want to say this, and by the way, Dr. Albert Biamugisha is the chairperson of WUBOS. So as I address her, I'm more or less addressing him in his other capacity. The way you brought your budget is the way it was passed. You have no excuse. Go out and tell people what this exercise is about. Yes. The other issue is the issue you've raised of the boundaries. Let's count people in these villages, because it begins in the household. So the household, there is no boundary in the household. And if it is there, you've divided it up. You decided others to stay in Sudan, others stay in Uganda. We are only counting those in Uganda. When it comes to districts, you actually know, you people know what stops where. For those particular districts, we are going to raise it with the ministry so that they get in touch with the, we get in touch with the Ministry of Lands to come and demarcate. But don't go and bring your politics like the other Angara say, to bring people to think that is what will determine whether you are voted back or not. We are looking for information to be able to decipher any government intervention, what goes where in what amounts. Because look at our parish development model. Because we don't have proper information, proper data. The money we give for parish development model, for Nakasero parish, where you see Arirang, NRM Secretariat, you see those Fairway Hotel, is the money we are giving to one of my parishes in Inwoya, called what? Amakino? Arana? It's the same money we are giving to one parish in where? In Lamo. But the poverty levels are different. If we're really targeting the 38, are they in Kololo? But Kololo, they're also getting that money. So I wonder people in Kololo, who is taking that money? So it's because we don't have data to be able to decipher what should we put much emphasis and where should we put less emphasis. Who are those falling in the category we are looking for? So please, let's look at this data. The political one, we always know how to handle at the right time, but can we leave this one for planning purposes so that we are able to take proper decisions when it comes to intervention to fight poverty? But still the borders are also known. You just either bring your tribal, and by the way, it is us politicians who take our political individual interests in the cultural issues and make it an issue. That's where we always make mistakes. Can we as politicians don't disorganize this? Then when it comes to Bank of Uganda, I'm so happy that you have come from Bank of Uganda to come to Dawood. These people who make us bosses, because as these voters, me, I'm not a boss, not a minister. And once these voters say you go, you never know the one who will come, whether will leave us with the Bank of Uganda with the same faces or different faces. Because the people who are qualified to do the work are very many across the world. They can pick from anywhere. But we have also, so the issue of the agricultural credit facility, it has been for us who are in Kampala, and not only those, not all who are in Kampala, those who have access that can work in the offices of the bank managers and insist. Not all people can insist. Banks are frustrated people. Put together a mechanism of getting feedback. Why for all of these years? People are not many. Because where we are talking now, don't clap for me, you just listen. No, this is a challenge we must all address, please. Because when you observe this particular area, if this information had been taken down to the ordinary people, because you find them struggling, because if they've been able to buy trucks where they carry their agricultural products as groups, as women groups to the market, because that one is done here. I want to tell you, in the villages, these ordinary women who don't know English organize themselves, they get a truck on credit, they transport their agricultural commodities to the market where they will get better prices. That is a very good mindset, ready for the next level. So it is you, it is me who have not come to help them get to that level. They will instead be processing and be transporting, instead of transporting raw materials to the market, they will be transporting, finished products. So I want you to go back to your bosses, tell them, you come here, constitute yourselves into teams and move to all the districts of this place. These people are right, their mindset is so right. And by the way, here it has nothing to do with English. In the villages, the women are more committed. I'm sorry for the men, even when the man is next to me. The women are more committed than the men when it comes to issues of production and productivity, in terms of incomes, in terms of they are really ready. So, also, your process takes too long. I'm one of those who accessed that. But I had to move from 3 banks to get to 1 bank, the FCU, after failing in other 2 banks. This is the 3rd bank was the only one that where I insisted and they accepted. The others refused, even where I carry an account as an individual, as Mr. and Mrs. So, for long this has been on, but you as Bank of Uganda never came to help the ordinary people. Now you see, you're about to close, but if she went out and showed in terms of regions and sub-regions how many have accessed, there is concentration somewhere and little somewhere. But you could not even look at that and say, where it is not, it is so low. What can we go and talk to them and find a way of how to do what? How to simplify. Now, I want to say the UDB, for which you have said you work with, UDB has gone down to simplify this matter. They were also behaving like you Bank of Uganda, saying commercial banks are doing it. But when it came to issues of the development funds they have, they realized the money they have. The big manufacturers, people with big tourism ventures or investments who are accessing this, they realize they are not enough for them to spur development in the country. So what have they done? I'm not the advocate, I'm just giving you an example of what they've done. What they've done, they've gone to the extent of going with the parish development model. They had to sit and discuss and agree with even New Bank of Uganda, how do we help people under parish development model? So they've gone to the level that if you have a registered company and you have all the paperwork which is required, and your company, now they have different sets, I don't know how you call them, groupings. This is for the smaller ones, these are for tourism, these are big manufacturing, these are smaller value addition. So when you go, they place you, you enter in UDP and just sit and talk your local language. For me, I've been rearing chicken, of course me I'm in chicken, I will talk about what I do outside. Then this is what then you say, now, for you, you have the eggs, but the market is not enough. Can we now look for how to make these eggs processed into something? Now you have the waste, which you are throwing away, disposing of in a river nearby, but this is not good. Now let's process this into this. Now you need this kind of machine. They go ahead to give you the technical. So people used to fear to go to UDP because they thought it was for the big. They've now toned it down to come to where the majority are. And the people who are going to spread development, what do they do? If you have a registered company and 40% shareholding is for a woman or women, they give you priority. If you have a registered company and 40% is owned by youths or a youth, they give you priority. And they sit with you and they help you even do the paperwork. So this business of people who say, go through me, I'll do the paperwork, you give me this percentage, and then you get the money, that is over. If it happens in UDP, just walk to Patricia and tell her, small as she looks, she will act. I've seen her acting to some people. You know, sometimes people despise my height, sometimes my height and smaller ones, but it's no longer the case. Then, they've also gone down that people who are registered farmers in a group or a cooperative, but they have all of their paperwork put together. But even if your paperwork is not proper, they get somebody technical to help the people, the farmers, organize their paperwork. And once it is done, they help those people to access the money.